Welcome to Aunty K's Tarot, your favorite radical queer indigenous auntie, bringing you tarot every day. Hello everyone and welcome to Aunty K's Tarot. We are going to have a quick look at my card pull from this morning as I got up and got going, and we're going to wrap up with my evening thoughts while I was washing dishes. And today's conversation, it's going to be neoliberalism won't save us either, and through the lens of, have you watched the latest seasons of The Handmaid's Tale? All right, let's get into it. I disrupt the glamour of projection. Destruction is the gateway to creation. In the tension between endings and beginnings, I find my purpose. I am the threshold through which the past reaches out to the future, and through which the future reaches out to honor the past. 5 is definitely the tension between endings and beginnings, especially in the 5 of Wands. I see what has been for what it is. I respect what will be, knowing what it will take to get there. I am the eye through which the ancestors thread their potential. I am precision. In the stillness and absence of external illumination, I return to myself. I empower myself to break rules. I reject convention. I reject status quo. I reject tradition for tradition's sake. My ceremony emboldens liberation for all. Yes. So, I watched the first 3 episodes of season 6. Whew, that's hot. Of The Handmaid's Tale. And so, first let's talk about me watching The Handmaid's Tale in the first place. Not a big Margaret Atwood fan. She's really more someone who appeals to white Canadians in general. So I was like, am I interested in The Handmaid's Tale? I don't know. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. And so the folks I used to live with in Lanark, where I just moved from, the place where they initially wanted a BIPOC land trust, and thinking that's what they wanted, to thinking racists needed safe spaces too. Those people. Yeah. So they were like really discouraging me from watching A Handmaid's Tale, and I was like, really? Because with the modern updates, it kind of sounds like it's up my alley. A dystopian drama warning us about how easily it is to slip into fascism seems completely up my alley. But they were really discouraging. So I watched it weirdly without telling them I was watching it, and I was right. It was completely up my alley, and I was like, I have no idea why they didn't just say, oh, we didn't like it, or yeah, no, we totally don't recommend it, but we're actively discouraging it. That's always bothered me. Anyway, season 6. In season 6, we have been getting to the point that was being hinted at the end of season 5, and I've been waiting for. And how neoliberalism is going to make fascism more palatable, more acceptable. And we are starting to see that. And I really hope this show's conclusion warns us that sanitizing fascism is still destructive, problematic, and oppressive, and it's not the compromise we should all be okay with. And that as I hope that for season 6, I look around us as I sit here in like the, you know, the throne room of neoliberalism, polite so-called Canada, and I get it. Like, I get it. Neoliberalism sounds appealing right now. It really does sound appealing at this time. And especially when you're like, well, do I have any option other than fascism or neoliberalism telling me they've got a gentler version of this fascism ahead? Like, what are my real options? I get it. I get why it seems comfortable. And so if neoliberalism is what Canada holds on to, how do we not become the Handmaid's Tales version of Canada? How do we avoid being the Handmaid's Tales version of Canada? Because that's very plausible. Whether it's very plausible, whatever the outcome. And we need to think about that. Neoliberalism won't save us. Voting won't save you. The rise of fascism has never been solved with staying comfortably at home voting. It's going to take more than that. And if you can't be in the streets, what can you do to support it? Who can you babysit for? Who can you provide meals for? What programs can you get up and running that also support and make room for those more militant tactics in the fight? Because all the tactics are needed. You can't choose the non-militant tactics because you don't like and don't approve of the militant tactics. You need to choose them as part of a diversity of tactics. So there's that. It's an interesting time, right? I'm at the same time that we're doing this, I'm also educating my youngest child. And we recently wrapped up 500 years of resistance as our history spine by Gord Hill, which is a history of the America since 1492 from an indigenous perspective. And so we are now reading an anti-capitalist history. And we're at the part where, the left's opposing globalization and now the right's opposing globalization. And in truth, the right always opposed it as well as the left did. It just opposed it for different reasons. And I think that's something we need to remember as we move into modern times, that we had different opinions even in the 90s as to why we were in opposition to globalization and free trade back then. And that's different than the way Trump is opposed to globalization. we're not just always the opposite. Sometimes actually we're so far the opposite that it's totally different. And I guess it's important to know how it's totally different, because if you don't understand how it's totally different, you do end up in a position where what you're upholding is absolutely the neoliberalism that's going to make it acceptable.